Okay, ladies, I've decided to make an attempt at creating a video to walk you through the process of doing your writing for section 2, either your letter or your composition. Hopefully, this will clarify for you the steps that I've been explaining in class of choosing the topic, brainstorming to get the relevant vocabulary in Spanish, and doing the planning in Spanish by asking yourself relevant questions based on each of the guidelines. So here we have a letter and a composition. Again, in the exam, when you are reading your paper, way before you start writing any answers, this is the time when you would be looking at the two options and already weighing in your mind which of them you think you can attempt based on the stimulus provided to you. So you would have a general idea of what vocabulary comes more readily to mind, and seeing if you are able really to treat with one more than the other. As you can see here, we have a letter. You have been invited to spend your Christmas vacation with your friend in Venezuela but will not be able to do so. Write a letter informing him or her of 1. Plans you made previously which will prevent you from visiting. 2. Preparations you are making for the Christmas celebration in your own country. 3. A promise to visit on another occasion. 4. A special favor which you request of him or her. The composition: you have attended your graduation ceremony and received many awards. Write a composition in which you include how you prepared for the ceremony, details of what happened during the ceremony, information about the awards you received, and your plans for the future. Seeing that Achievement Day is coming up, I thought that we could tackle the composition instead of the letter. So let's see how we would go about the actual brainstorming for the composition. So I'm going to actually just delete this part here, giving us a little more space, hopefully. Again, these instructions above are important. You've seen them time and again, and they are not to be disregarded. So using one of the following outlines as a guide, which we have done, we've chosen the composition. Write in Spanish a composition, in this case, of no more than 130 to 150 words. Use the tense or tenses appropriate to the topic which you have chosen. Now remember, this is just a guide here. Sometimes we can go a bit over the 150. I would suggest that we don't go under the 130. Remember the sort of framework I gave you in terms of the word limit. So we're looking at an introduction of about 25 words, 2 paragraphs following in your body, 50 words each, and then a conclusion of 25 words. And again, try to make each paragraph go along with each guideline. So here, how you prepared for the ceremony, about 25 words. Details of what happened, 50 words. Information about the awards you received, 50 words. Your plans for the future, 25 words. So what we're going to look at now is just brainstorming. Again, looking at some words that we can fill in here for our composition. So if we're talking about things like graduation ceremony, so we're looking at words like ceremonia, we are looking at words like graduación. I have to remember to put in my accents. Oh wow, yes, graduación. Let me see if I can just change the language here of the table. That would be nice. Probably would make our life a little easier instead of having all those red lines. Let's get to some Spanish. Okay. All right. Other things we can look at: premio, prize. Start looking also at our verbs. So we could look at things like asistir a. We could look at things like prepararse. We could look at things like recibir. Again, also thinking about what you probably would want to write. Levantarse. So I'm thinking of, what I want to put into the composition. So I'm, making a list of verbs of things that I think I may want to use. And remember, not just because you put a word on your word list, it means that you have to use it. That is not the case at all. It simply means that it's something that you could possibly use. All right, estudiar al extranjero. Let's see here. Un traje, un vestido especial. La directora del colegio. Now I know you will be doing this by hand, so I'm just doing this here so I can show you, the process as I mentioned before. Mis asignaturas favoritas. Things like orgulloso, presente, let's see here, una beca. As you can see, I need to visit, what's your name, the typing software. Anyway, una universidad, un cheque de $500. Then here, again, this is probably a column that you could fill out first, actually, because here's where you're going to be putting things like, your connectives, your prepositions, etc. So things like por, para, tends to be long as a rule, because these are the words that you use to do so many different things. Con, sin, sin embargo, porque, a causa de, cuando, además, por eso, pues, entonces, luego, antes, después, etc. So I'm not going to go through all of that. You have the general idea. Then we can look at now perhaps starting more of a plan of how we would go through getting our composition organized. So we can perhaps call it, let's see if we can insert some shapes here. Let's see if it works. So we have a ceremonia de graduación. We can have a couple of questions now around it. So for part 1, we could ask certain questions. We could ask ¿cuándo ocurría? For example. We could ask something like perhaps ¿qué me pasó? We could ask something like ¿qué hice yo? Just for example, because remembering we only have 25 words more or less to play around with. Alright, so we have that. Move this around a bit. We put in our second section here. Let's see what that's going to do for us. So we've got part 2. We could ask questions like ¿a qué hora comenzó la ceremonia? We could ask something like ¿quiénes? Oops. Do that again. ¿Quiénes estaban allí? And note that while I'm writing the questions, I'm already asking the questions in the tense because I'm already thinking about how my preterites and imperfects are going to come into play. Alright? ¿Quiénes estaban ahí? Because that's the backdrop, that's the background, that's the setting, that's not necessarily a bit of information that is going to drive the story forward. Alright? So note that and reflect on it. So when you are asking your questions in Spanish, you have to put the question in the correct tense, either imperfect tense or preterite tense. Another question I could ask, again, very similar to a question we had in part 1, simply ¿qué pasó? Because remember, you are telling a story, so basically you want to know what happened. That's always important. ¿Qué pasó? Alright, so if we look at perhaps now part 3. Doesn't want to do what I want. Let's try that again. So for part 3, we're looking at asking questions perhaps like, let's see, ¿cuáles o cuántos premios recibí yo? Alright, so here you can ask the questions in the first person because you're talking about what happened to you, so it's alright. Another question you could possibly ask, again thinking about this setting, ¿cómo me sentía? You could possibly ask ¿cómo se sentían mis padres? Alright, so you're drawing other people into it as well. Alright, and then for the part 4 now, we could look at asking things perhaps like, let's see, so part 4, we could ask something like, ¿qué fue el resultado we can ask something like ¿Qué hice yo? So again, you see that's a question that was repeated from the first part. And we could add one more question. Let's see here. ¿Qué haré? Oops, again, I keep forgetting that lovely E. ¿Qué haré en el futuro? All right, again, drawing back from my guidelines of parts 1 through 4. All right, so we can look at trying to answer these questions. Again, I'm typing, so hopefully that is going to allow me a little more flexibility. We'll see if it does. So, cuando ocurría, so again, we're setting the scene. So we can put something like cada año. All right. And again, we're just putting things to stimulate our mind and our imagination for when we really have to write our entire composition. ¿Qué me pasó? What could we say here? We can say something like el año pasado gradué, so I can put a comma. Okay. ¿Qué hizo yo? You can put something like compré un traje especial. Alright. You can put something like me levanté temprano. Alright. Part 2. ¿A qué hora comenzó la ceremonia? We can say something like, again, we're answering in the short version here. We will elaborate more when we write our actual composition. So here you can use, digits, etc. A las 9. ¿Quiénes estaban ahí? Again, you don't have to write all, articles, etc. Directora, profesores, padres, invitados. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? Los alumnos entraron. Todo el mundo se puso de pie. Los trámites normales. Alright, let's see if I can, yeah, that's about it there. Again, your knowledge of your vocabulary, of course, comes in greatly here, because remember, you do not have recourse to a dictionary, so you really must be working with what's in your head. And the more you learn and try to apply your vocabulary, the better off you'll be. For part 3, ¿cuáles premios recibió? We can put something like, here you can put the names of the subjects. So you can put last. Okay, why are you doing that? No sé. Let's try that again. Okay, this shape wants to give me trouble. Again, no need for articles. Matemáticas. And you just put the things that you remember. Español, música, informática. Alright, ¿cómo me sentía? Here you simply can put some adjectives. Nerviosa. ¿Cómo se sentían mis padres? Orgullosos. Making sure here is where you make sure that there's agreement. If we go back up to the things that you would have received, we can add in things like un cheque de $500. Un vale regalo. Un vale regalo is like a gift voucher. Alright. And the last part, ¿qué fue el resultado? El resultado, you can put something like un momento decisivo para mí. ¿Qué hizo yo? Solicité a 4 universidades. Estudiaré informática al extranjero. So we have a few ideas there. And from that now, we can try to start actually writing our composition. Alright, so I'm going to actually start writing from here, where you see the cursor, so that hopefully these shapes will move down as I write. Okay, so let's see what we can come up with here. Cada año, oops, undo that. That's not what I wanted to do at all. Cada año mi colegio celebraba. Alright, let me see again if I can try to put this into Spanish. God help us. Mi colegio celebraba su ceremonia de graduación y entrega de premios. Okay, so alright, that doesn't seem to be moving at all, so I'm just going to cut this line and just move down to the bottom of this thing here. Ok, su ceremonia de graduación y entrega de premios. El año pasado recibí una invitación decidí comprarme un traje, bueno, un vestido especial. El día especial me levanté temprano para no llegar tarde. Okay, so let's see if we can do a quick word count here. Right there we've got 34 words. Okay, so we're a bit over 25, but we may be able to live with that. Okay, so we're going on now to the second part. La ceremonia comenzó a las 9. So here we actually spell out the word. Y todos estaban sentados. So you see here we use the estaban because we're just describing what they were doing. Everyone was seated, alright? But here, preterist, a specific action. La ceremonia comenzó, began. Entonces todos estaban sentados en el auditorio. Okay? You can say who, la directora, los profesores, los padres de los alumnos premiados y los invitados especiales. Okay. Todo el mundo se había puesto de pie cuando los alumnos entraron en el auditorio. Okay. Bueno, había todos los trámites de una tal ceremonia. Okay. El himno nacional, una oración, los discursos, etc. Alright, so that's the second paragraph. Just let me make a little adjustment here because some of you may not be seeing as well as I am. So paragraph 2 would give us 59 words. So again, we're a little over, but in our editing process, we may be able to cut down a bit. Third paragraph, cuando me llamaron a la plataforma, estaba nerviosa. No sabía cuál premio recibiría yo. Again, here pay attention to the use of the tenses, alright? Preterite tense, cuando me llamaron, action had happened one time. Estaba nerviosa, imperfect, describing the feeling. No sabía cuál premio, again, describing you didn't know. And then here, actually, we can incorporate a conditional. I would receive. Okay? So again, in your section 2, in your letter, in your composition, you really need to display to the examiner through your writing your versatility, your ability to manipulate the Spanish, to manipulate the grammatical concepts that you've been taught in order to produce a piece of writing that is worthy of the distinction that we are all aiming for. Okay, so let's see. How shall we continue? Luego empezó. Here we can list our subjects, las matemáticas, and el español. It's always nice in a Spanish essay to make mention of Spanish. Couldn't hurt. El español, la música, la física, y la informática. La informática. Qué sorpresa. Let's see here. Right, so a nice use of an exclamation. Alright. Qué sorpresa. Alright. Then you bring in the other people. Right. Mis padres estaban tan orgullosos cuando vi sus caras. Talk a bit more about what you got. Recibí unos regalos y un cheque de $500. Alright, and that's your third paragraph. Again, if we just do a quick word count, we get what? 49, alright. And then we go in for our final paragraph. Ese día fue muy excesivo para mí. Actually, here I would say that you could either use ese día fue or ese día era, depending on how you conceptualize the day. If you're looking at it as as the day itself having that great significance for you, I would use the fue. If it's just in terms of a description, again, the imperfect era. Continuing, porque me di cuenta de que podía realizar cualquier cosa. Después solicité el ingreso a 4 universidades el año, no, lo siento, el próximo, es lo que quiero decir, el próximo año estudiaré al extranjero para especializarme en la informática. And that's it there. So we're looking at getting a word count for this, which would be what? 35. So again, you can see that we're a bit over. So if we do from start to finish, how many words do we have? We're looking at 177 when we should be looking at 150. So we're looking at cutting off ideally 27 words, or if we want to give ourselves like a 10 word over and say 160 but 17 words. So let's see if we can do that. So after you've written, of course you have to edit. So we're looking here now. Cada año mi colegio celebraba su ceremonia de graduación y entrega de premios. El año pasado recibí una invitación. Decidí comprarme un vestido especial. El día especial me levanté temprano para no llegar tarde. All right. So what we can do there is perhaps eliminate this. So it can just be graduation and not prize giving. So we can delete those 3 words or 4 words. Decidí comprarme un vestido especial. Okay. Now let's look at this. Decidí comprarme un vestido especial. El día especial me levanté temprano. Blah, blah, blah. So we have this adjective coming twice in close succession there. So maybe we would want to change this into something like nuevo. Okay, change our word. La ceremonia comenzó a las 9 y todos estaban sentados en el auditorio. La directora, los profesores, todo el mundo se había puesto de pie cuando se... All right, we could perhaps eliminate this in el auditorio. All right, those are 3 words gone. Todo el mundo se había puesto de pie cuando los alumnos entraron. This I want you to note the use of the tenses here. So here we have the pluperfect and the preterite. Remember we said when we have 2 completed actions, we're talking about 2 completed actions and one took place before the other. All right, the one that happened first is put in the pluperfect. So we're saying that everyone had stood up when the students entered. So the people stood up first and then the students entered the auditorium. había todos los trámites de una tal ceremonia. Alright, we may be able to eliminate this word. Había los trámites de una tal ceremonia, el himno nacional, una oración, los discursos, etc. Cuando me llamaron a la plataforma, estaba nerviosa. No sabía cuál premio recibiría yo. Luego empezó las matemáticas, el español, etc. Qué sorpresa, 5 premios. Making sure that if we're saying that it's 5 subjects, it's 5 prizes, 5 subjects, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, muy bien. Mis padres estaban tan orgullosos, making sure there's agreement with adjective and whatever it's describing, so orgullosos to agree with padres, cuando vi sus caras. Recibí unos regalos y un cheque de $500. Este día fue muy decisivo para mí porque me di cuenta de que podía realizar cualquier cosa. Después solicité el ingreso. El próximo año estudiaré. Alright, so let's do a word count again and see how many words we managed to eliminate and if it got us closer to our 150 or 160 word counts. So we're at 169, so we're still a bit over. So what I would suggest is perhaps taking off these little intensifiers. So mis padres estaban orgullosos, right? So each little word there would help. Ese día fue decisivo, me di cuenta podía realizar cualquier cosa. Solicité ingreso a 4 universidades. We could probably take off the al extranjero. Right, now you see all of these things that we have to eliminate now is just taking a bit off of the flavor, if you want, of our composition. Alright, but it's not doing that much damage. Levante, cheque, let's see here. We've got 166. I would stay here. I wouldn't eliminate anything else. I mean, but if you really wanted to be strict about it, you could have taken off this de $500 and just said recibí unos vales regalos y un cheque de 500, un cheque, punto. Alright, so there are other things that you could remove, but basically that's what we're looking at with respect to your composition. Alright, so that is basically what it is. I guess this video wasn't that short.